What's up, everyone? All right, today is day 5 of my brand new small account challenge of trading in a $2,000 cash account using Webull as my broker. And guess what? It's my 5th green day in a row. My account is growing slow and steady. It's my 5th trade because in this small account challenge, I'm following the rules that I set out for all of our students at Warrior Trading whenever you're funding a brand new account. 1 trade a day. Get in, get green, and get out. When you limit yourself to just 1 trade a day, inherently, you're going to be focusing on the highest quality setup, and so your accuracy will benefit as a result. Now, I don't expect I'll be able to maintain 100% accuracy indefinitely. I will have a loss, but early on, I've been pretty picky, waiting for good quality setups. And so what's interesting is the stock that I traded today, I actually looked at it just the other day because it was on a list of stocks with elevated levels of short interest. That means a lot of people have actually been betting against the company, selling shares on the open market, hoping the stock will decline in value so they can buy them back at a lower price. That's what happened with GameStop. And yet, when the stock suddenly started squeezing up last week, we had another one just like this that started squeezing up 100%, 200%, 300%, 400%. Suddenly, all of those short sellers are forced to cover their positions. The way they cover is by buying back, which fuels more buying volume, which sends the stock even higher. Now, GameStop obviously was a really incredible scenario. That doesn't happen every day. But just last week, we had a stock that actually went up about 1,000%, from $6, $7 a share up to a high of $78. So that's what prompted me, after seeing that big move, to look for the next stock with elevated levels of short interest. So the stock that I traded today, it was actually on that list. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the screen share. I'm going to start breaking down my trade from today. Now, before we do that, as always, I want to check in with where we're at on this fundraising challenge. All of the profit that I'm making from these small account challenges, all the trading profits getting donated to charity, but you guys are helping increase that match, that donation, because I'm doing a dollar for dollar match. Every time you guys hit the thumbs up, I'm adding an extra dollar to how much I'm donating. We have already raised over $183,000 for charity. This is fantastic, and these are the different organizations that I've donated money to. So since day 4, I have updated this because I've donated some more money. I've actually, as of right now, donated $185,000, which means a little bit above the 183 that we've raised, which means I hope you guys will hit the thumbs up on this episode to add up, to get us up at least above 185,000. So since my last update, I decided, instead of doing one really large donation, to split it up across a number of the charities that you guys had recommended I donate to. So thank you for those of you guys in the comments. We donated $5,000 to Wounded Warrior, $5,000 to the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, $5,000 Wings of Life for spinal cord injuries, $5,000 to the Ronald McDonald House, $5,000 to America's Vet Dogs. These are service dogs for veterans. $5,000 to the Genesis Foundation, and then $5,000 to No Kid Hungry, and another $5,000 to the Food Bank of Western Mass. So these are donations that I just made over the last week. Some of them I made on Thursday and Friday morning, and others I made just this morning. So these are all, my way of paying it forward. I appreciate you guys who have all hit the thumbs up here and helped with this small account challenge and this goal of raising some money for charity. So we're paying it forward. We're doing a good thing. And I think you guys are learning about trading in the process. Okay, so here's the breakdown of day 5. I'm up $196.57, which means my account now has a total profit since I started of $1,308.40. The account is up 65%, and you can see this is my new small account balance. So the account, as you can see, is growing, albeit a little on the slower side. I wish I could get a couple more big trades. One of the challenges is that the stock that made that big move last week was a little bit higher priced, and I didn't feel I could take the risk on it. So these are the stats since day 1, still maintaining 100% accuracy, but only 5 trades in. Now, one of the things that I share with all of our students here at Warrior Trading is this as part of our trading plan that I teach you guys in chapter 14 and chapter 15, I give you guys these 7 phases of learning how to trade. It begins with the alpha phase, which is usually when you're trading in the simulator and you're just trading a ton. You're trading everything that's moving. So this is good. You want to gain experience. You want to practice trading, reading level 2, and just, really sinking your teeth in. So this is the opportunity to trade either in a simulator or with real money, but with really small share size. But then you get to the point where you want to see, do I have what it takes to actually trade with real money? And so what I encourage folks to do is to do the beta phase dry run, which is 1 trade a day for 10 days. 1 trade a day for 10 days. And then if you are successful with the 1 trade a day for 10 days, you switch and do it with real money. So right now, I'm doing phase 1 real money in this small account challenge at Webull. It's basically repeating the dry run phase. So I do 1 trade a day for 10 days. Now, if I successfully complete 1 trade a day for 10 days, I proceed to phase 2, which is increasing my share size. And usually phase 1, by the way, is with 100 shares. So I go up to increasing share size. So actually I'm already here because I'm taking bigger share size, but I'm still doing 1 trade a day. Phase 3 is when we start taking more than 1 trade a day. Phase 4 is when we get into scaling in and out and being a little bit more aggressive, and we continue with that in phase 5. So my limitation right now for this small account challenge naturally is that I don't have a lot of money in the account. Even with $3,300, what I'm basically doing is I'm going all in on each trade that I see. And so I take 1 trade and then I can't take any more trades till the next day. So SBEV is the stock that hit our scanner right here early this morning. Now, like I said, this stock was already on my radar. I wasn't paying attention to it specifically this morning, but when it hit my scanner, I saw the ticker SBEV and I immediately thought elevated level of short interest. I noticed the float was sub 1 million shares, as you can see right here, and this thing went from $1.69 up to a high of 204. Now, it didn't end up making as big of a move as I had hoped for, but the fact that it had this elevated level of short interest being about 32%. So you can see it's increased recently. It's about 32% of the total float, and the cost to borrow has increased by about 300%, which gives it a short score of about 80 out of 100, according to Ortex. This is software that a lot of traders were using during the GameStop short squeeze because they are provide very accurate and very up-to-date short interest, even for more thinly traded stocks like this one. So my workflow on this was stock hits the scanner. I'm immediately familiar with it. All right, so that's important. I'm familiar with the stock, so I'm thinking, yep, I already know this one is interesting. I like the price because it's cheaper, which is good for the small account. The float is great. The relative volume is low, and I'm not totally clear on what the catalyst is, but I see it squeezing up, and it's making me think of this big move from last week. So this is our chart where you can see this stock starts down here at $5-6 a share, squeezes up to 10, pulls back, and goes up to 10, then goes up to 15, 18, 20, 30, all the way up here, squeezes up, then it pulls back. Next day, it pushes higher, goes up to 40, to 45, up to $50 a share, pulls back, goes all the way up to 70, sorry, it's not 78, it was $76.54. And then it sells off a little bit, and then today it bounces from 32 all the way back up to 66. Now, I did end up trading this one in my main account, and I made money in it, but I didn't trade it in the small account because it was just too expensive. The approach for the small account is 1 trade a day, and what I'm focusing on doing generally is trading stocks between like $1.50 and $6 or $7 that I think have the potential to go up 30 or 40 cents a share, and my goal is to try to capture 20 cents. Now, on the lower end price, like SBEV was today, I may not end up capturing that total type of gain. So you can see on this one here, this was the profit of $196, but my position was 1,600 shares. So I bought 1,600 shares. I got filled at $1.75, and I ended up getting out at $1.87. So I actually only made about 12 cents per share, but nonetheless, $200 a day, you average that over the course of the year, that's $50,000 a year. From a tiny account, that's pretty solid. Now, my account wouldn't stay this small over the course of the year. It would continue to grow. So presumably my gains would get bigger. But nonetheless, it's still really solid. So this was our move. Initial pop up, it sells off. Then it squeezes up here to $1.85. It pulls back. And this was our nice little pullback right here. That is a micro pullback. That is a setup I love trading. I love buying the dip after a nice fresh breakout. And you know what's kind of interesting is we actually had another stock today that put in a pretty nice micro pullback. Let me show you the other example of it from today. So it was PLRZ right here. Now, PLRZ ended up giving us a really clean micro pullback as this thing ended up going up over 100%. And you know what? In hindsight, I would have loved to have traded this in the small account, but I'd already taken my one trade of the day. And so I wasn't able to. This is the curse of trading with a cash account. You're just limited how much you can trade. So that was a really nice pullback right there. And I did take that trade in my main account. Now, the total profit in the main account on PLRZ, $45,373.27. I also traded SBEV in my main account, but I only made $215 there. So it wasn't really a big winner. Well, that's okay. You win some, you lose some. I'm grateful to be green. I'm green in both accounts. But again, I suppose this highlights sort of two things. Number one, the downside of trading in a cash account. Sometimes you end up blowing that one trade on a setup that you liked, but as it turns out, doesn't end up giving you as big of a move as you hoped, and then you just got to wait for the next setup. But on the other hand, this also showed the importance of spending time creating a profile of the recent big mover. So because we had that big move last week, we had a 1,000% move, I had sat down and I had evaluated what was the price, what was the relative volume, what was the news, then I checked what was the short interest. I saw it was about 37%. And then we were looking at, of course, the float, which was also about 750,000 shares. And so the price on that one was about $5 a share when it started. The relative volume ended up increasing over time. But that made me think that this is what I'm going to look for. Similar price, similar short interest, because that felt like the most important part of the catalyst that gave us that big move last week. Now, unfortunately, this one didn't end up continuing higher. It was a good idea. It was worth a shot. And nonetheless, it was a base hit. It was a small green trade. And now I've got another $200 in the account, and I'll be able to use that buying power on my next trades, hopefully tomorrow. So for those of you guys who haven't already learned about it, this is the small account growth strategy, trading every single day, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., using about 10% risk, 10% profit target. My target accuracy is 75%. I'm exceeding it right now. The growth in the account target, 25% per week. I'm actually a little bit shy of that right now, but the account is up 65%, which is good. So for those of you guys who haven't already checked out my full-length episode where I teach this strategy, I'm going to put a link to it right here. And let me remind you, as always, that trading is risky. There's no guarantee you'll find success, whether you trade with me or you learn on your own. So please make sure you manage your risk and practice these new strategies you're learning in a simulator before you ever put real money on the line. So make sure you check out the small account growth strategy episode and day 6, which will get uploaded and added to the end of this episode right here once I lock it up. All right, hope to see you guys for the next upload real soon.